Do not adjust your screen. This is really happening. It is another top 100 indicator from No Nonsense Forex. Possibly a top 50 indicator. So let's get it. So yeah, it's been a while since we've done a trading video. It's been a couple months. And for being nice and not giving me too much trouble about that, we are going to do another top 100 indicator. Now, some of you guys who have been doing this for a while are probably already familiar with this one, but many of you are not. So we are going to talk about it. Now, this is not the ride-sharing app. That came about much later. Has nothing to do with that. This was invented by a Brazilian man named DiDi Index, and I don't really care about the history of it. Let's just get right into it. First off, we're going to have a disclaimer. Read it, love it, and in this video, we're going to talk about one of my top indicators from years ago. It's important that I stress that. Used it for maybe a year or so. It's hard to remember back that far, but I had success with it. And I'll show you different ways to best use it. Short and sweet. No fun pictures, no characters coming in. Just the meat and potatoes. So let's dive into it. Now the specs on this, we're going to go to the charts and look at it. But for your notes, this is widely available, so don't ask me where to get it. It's everywhere. Just go to Google, type in DiDi Indicator MT4. You'll get a bunch of sites. It's really simple, which I like. I like explaining much simpler indicators on these videos than I do indicators which are more complex because there's always little intricacies that I forget to cover, but not this time. Super simple. Now, this is composed of moving averages and then a zero line. So this is an oscillator that goes below your chart. And even though this is a very simple indicator in my mind, it's not just simple moving averages. There's a little more complexity to it. You'll see what I mean shortly. And I got to stress this because if you ever saw the RSI video, people went berserk. This is, from what I've seen, this is most commonly used as a two lines cross indicator. We will not be doing it that way here. On the RSI video, for example, I was like, most people use this as an overbought, oversold indicator because they do. If you've ever watched anybody who shows off the RSI indicator, 9 times out of 10, that's what you're going to see. But there are other ways to use it. There are many ways to use this particular indicator. I am going to show you the methods that worked best for me, and then you can take it from there in any direction you like. So a few more things to understand about this as well. I don't know where you are in your no-nonsense Forex journey, but if this is one of the first videos you have found and you don't really understand what I mean by two lines cross, this, that, you've gone too far. Go back. I'm going to put down below our homepage. And on that homepage has a video. If you go to that video, it will tell you exactly how to navigate this channel. If you like our style and you like some of the things we're talking about, we're the only channel to come out and cover indicators in depth like this. We still really are. And we have changed the lives and fortunes of many a trader across the world. So you're in a good place. But instead of asking beginner level questions in the comments section, simply go to the beginner's video and start from there, if you'd be so kind. Now, this may not work well for you. Just because this is one of my top indicators does not mean it is always going to be one of yours. Now, that being said, I think the top 100 indicators I've given away on this channel so far did pretty well for most people. A lot of people are like, wow, these are fire. I love these. Thank you so much. And then there were a few people out there that said, yeah, I can't get this thing to work really well for me. I have other indicators that are way better. And there's some people, the coders, who are the worst. They're like, I ran this through a strategy tester and it didn't perform well as that. Blah, blah. All right, look, I've done a lot of research on my own too. This is one of the ones that made it through. And as most of you know, it's not about the standalone indicators as they sit. It's about the whole. It's about the whole system working with each other. That's what's really important. But it helps to start with an indicator that on its own does perform well. And I found this one to be the case. And honestly, it was probably in my top 50 for a while. I just don't know if it still would be now. It was a long time ago. I've added a lot of indicators since. I just don't want to go back and re-rank them all. I have no reason to do that. So we'll just call it the top 100 indicator for now. But it could crack the 50. I used it for a while, and it's quite versatile. There's several ways to use it, several good ways, and we'll talk about that soon. And but towards the end here, I'm going to show you the ways that I like to do it. But right now, let's go to the charts just so you can kind of see this thing in its natural form. So here we are where we pretty much always try to start at the euro-dollar daily chart. Why? Because we don't cherry pick here, or we really try not to. Now, this is the DiDi Index down here. Your colors will vary, but it's pretty simple. You have this zero line right here, and then you have, out of these two, you have a faster line and a slower line. Can you tell me which one is which? Pretty obvious once you start to look at it. I mean, just look at this right here. This was pretty smooth. This was a lot choppier. This is your faster line in the red, and your slower line is here in the light blue. Now, again, you can use this as a zero cross indicator. You can use this as a two lines cross indicator. You can use both lines. You can use one line, however you choose to do it. But I will tell you mine. Now, you can kind of see as a two lines cross indicator, because this pair has trended fairly nicely, wouldn't be too bad, really. You know, you had quite a mess right here. But to me, that has never, ever been the most optimal way to use this indicator. And we will go over those optimal ways. But I just wanted you to see this in its natural form. Sorry the dates are cut off down at the bottom. I am shooting this at the very end of 2021, so that's where we are currently. But yeah, let's talk about how I used this indicator with a good amount of success. All right, so do not have a panic attack. We will go back to the charts. But this is how, for those of you who take notes, and everybody should be taking notes, this is how I preferred to use it. Step one, get rid of that faster line. Doesn't really help, in my opinion. Next, just so you know, you were looking at the indicator on the default settings for what it's worth. I tweaked it to my preferences and found something that worked better than the default. The default does not work bad, but just telling you now, you can improve it with a little bit of work. And you do that by altering the second moving average and the third moving average. I will show you what I'm talking about. This is where it gets a little bit complex. I'm going to try to simplify it the absolute best I can. But when you go to the settings of this indicator, you're going to see three different moving averages. You want to generally ignore the first and just deal with the bottom two. We'll go over it. But this, so you know, and I'm not going to tell you where I used it. I want you to do the work and test both ways. For those of you who understand the no-nonsense Forex algorithm, this can be a primary confirmation indicator, or it can be used as a secondary confirmation indicator. Probably works pretty well both ways. But for those of you note takers out there, if I went too fast, pause it. Write this down because we are going to our charts right now. Okay, so as I said, step one is to get rid of this red one here. The best way to do that is to go to your colors. Go to red, and then go to this very last box here. This is your none box, and that will just simply, it will leave it there, but you won't see it. So there's that. Now, how do we use this thing? Well, we use it as a zero cross indicator, but it's inverted. So, for example, when the DiDi Index crosses and closes below the zero cross line, which would have been right here for the first time, that is a long signal. So you'd have gone long here and gotten whatever that would have been. And then conversely, right here, it crossed and closed above the zero line. So where was that? Right there. And you would have had another nice trade. Now, over here was a disaster. You have bad signal, bad signal, bad signal, bad signal. Now, you wouldn't probably lost a ton in that sequence. But as you all know, people who are advanced in the no-nonsense Forex system, you already know many, if not all of those losses would have not even happened because either you would have done some smoothing, which I suggest you do, or you would have had other indicators, like another confirmation indicator, like a volume indicator, that would have eliminated most of those. And then really didn't see a signal again until right here, and this is yet to be seen. But what's really nice is you didn't get a signal to do anything in the middle of all this chop right here, which we don't like. No trend trader wants to be stuck here. And up until right about here, let's be precise about it. Right here, it successfully kept you out of all that. And we understand that eliminating losses is more important than getting actual wins on this channel. Sounds backwards, but go through all the videos and you'll understand how it works. So let's show you how to tweak this because it's not super standard. You go to inputs and we now see 3 different moving averages. Like, well, VP, I only saw 2. Well, there was only 2. But remember the slide before. I said what's important is these 2 right here. This, I think, if you really want to get overly technical, I'm not sure why you would, but it factors into the value of these other 2. That's why they're not standard moving averages, whatever. All you have to know, if you want to do things my way, is that if you want to tweak this down here, smooth it out, do whatever you want to do, these are the 2 numbers you care about. So let's see what that looks like. A little bit of magic, and poof. All of those losses never even happened. Now you would have gotten into these winners a bit sooner, but it's always a give and take. That's why we backtest. That's why we put these indicators together to see what the best settings are, to see what the best combination is. Let's show you the other way to do it. The other way is a little bit more wild, but it can be useful. So let's put this back to 20. Go back in it. And let's make this 10, for example. See what that does. Things get a bit shifted. Now, did eliminate a couple of those losses just by doing that. Those 2 stuck around. I know this is hard to see. Let's what happens if we zoom in? So over here, never gave you a signal here. It did here. But just to show you, it's not like tweaking just everyday moving averages. There are a couple other moving parts to it, but it's really not that bad. Pretty easy stuff at the end of the day. That's why I like it. That's why I wanted to show it to you. And I wish you much, much success with it. So in conclusion, enjoy. Play around with it. See if it works. I hope it does. For those of you who have already tested it, maybe you didn't test it my way. Try that. See if you see any improvement there. But there it is, out in the open for you. And just know that it can be used in many ways, just like everything else, but my preferred ways are what they are. But if it doesn't work for you, don't get discouraged. You're like, well, one of VP's top indicators doesn't even work for me. What am I doing? It doesn't matter. I have shown some horrible cockamamie garbage indicators on this channel just so I can show you an example of something. And there are people out there who have taken those indicators and found a way to make them work in their systems. They've passed prop firm exams doing it this way. So again, what works for me probably doesn't work the same way for you. It's all about the whole system. So if this works for you really well, great. If not, hang on to it and simply move on. And here's a bit of good news. Monthly videos are back. I'm going to really try to keep these monthly videos going. I have more in my mind, on my spreadsheet, more things for us to talk about. So don't ever stop subscribing or hitting that bell. We are not done. We are done when I say we're done. And me actually going 2 months without videos has extended the overall lifespan of this channel in terms of our trading videos. So stick around for that. Get ready. Have a great new year, everybody, and let's go get it.